been 140 years of the BSE. I'm certainly not that old, but I first visited the Bombay Stock Exchange in 1977 when I was 17 years old. And at that time, there was a ring and there were people standing on the ring holding on to leather straps and they were shouting to buy or sell shares. And it was the old building with this not so clean and not so nice smelling little pit, as they called it, where the trading took place. That was my first image of the Bombay Stock Exchange. There were no computers, everything was on paper, mostly in Gujarati. Everything was written on sheets of paper that only the buyer and the seller understood, and after 2 weeks a trade would settle. There was no foreign buyers. There was, if at all, maybe UTI buying a little bit, maybe GIC buying a little bit, maybe LIC buying a little bit. It was mostly retail investors. That was the BSE of 1977. And look where we are today. Now you have FIIs, you have big institutions, you have people coming in directly to the stock market, or you have people coming in through international funds. You have mutual funds in India. It's been a massive, massive change. And hats off to the BSE, you've responded, because there were certain traditions, there were certain things that were taken for granted by the BSE in the old era. And after 94, 95, that era disappeared, and the BSE has taken great leaps and great steps to move forward and to become a premier stock exchange in India. I think the other important thing too that the BSE should always remember is that the BSE 30 index, what is called by some as the Sensex, what is now officially called as the S&P BSE 30 index. The BSE 30 index, to people from my generation at least, who are old hands, if you want to call us that, and we are old hands, I don't know, but we are old for sure. We have all remembered events in history based upon a BSE 30 index level, because this was the first index in India. An index reflects history. An index reflects the feelings and images and thoughts and views of a society across events, across economic events, across social events, political events, everything. I can remember that when Kuwait was invaded by Iraq, I was in the BSE at a very famous broker's office watching the breaking news, and we were just sitting there reading, watching and seeing the ticker about this invasion happening, and we were watching the BSE 30 index react to that invasion. So the BSE 30 index captures a lot of India's momentous and tumultuous history. It is very, very important, and I hope and I pray that the BSE continues to take steps to ensure that it remains and stays on as India's premier stock exchange.